Yeah.
Watching.
Yeah.
Follow me.
Follow you. She's clean.
Good morning from Busan. If you're new here, I'm Steph. This is Pete. We travel a lot with our 4-year-olds on Haze, and we're about halfway through a road trip all around South Korea. Over the last few weeks, we've learned a fair bit about driving in South Korea, so we asked over on our YouTube and Instagram for questions about driving in South Korea, taking a road trip, electric vehicles, rest stop snacks, whatever. And as we make our way today from Busan to Mokpo, we're going to be answering those. Okay, we'll start with a super easy one from Instagram. Adventure with Axel asks, who's doing the majority of the driving?
Moi.
It's exclusively Pete because, fun fact, no longer a fun fact, more a humiliating fact, I haven't driven on a freeway since high school. I moved away for college, went to New York City, lived in a bunch of cities with public transportation, never liked driving, and now am really uncomfortable driving, even in America. Is it true that Google Maps is useless for driving directions there? Yeah, Google Maps is useless for driving in all directions. So basically, Google Maps works. You can see the listings and the reviews. You can see where you are. But if you try to plug in like how to get from A to B, you won't see any driving, public transportation, cycling, walking, any directions. So instead, we use Naver Map.
Which is great. And I would actually say that it's better than Google Maps. There's lots of different functionality to it. One of the best things on it is that it tells you exactly which lane you need to get into and in lots of time as well. So when you're driving along, that makes it a lot less stressful. Also, for speeding, there is a ton of speed cameras in Korea, like everywhere, in the cities, but also on the highways. And Naver tells you when they're coming up, at least like a kilometer away, so you can adjust your speed if you're going a bit too fast, and that I just find really helpful.
I had to pee, so we waited for a little rest stop signal to appear on the dashboard. They have these just little toilet breaks. We'll show you like a big rest stop in a little bit.
They're also great for getting rid of your trash.
Which is not easy to do in Korea. Question from this tunnel comes from our friend Vina. Difficulty/ease of renting a car, value for money, customer support, and then there were a few along those lines. So our car was rented through Lota Rent-A-Car, which is one of the major companies. Pete picked it up in central Seoul at Seoul Station. No major difficulties there. What was the rest of it? Value for money. So we're in a Hyundai Ioniq 6 electric car, which is a little bit pricier. This one, I think it was like $1,300 US for what is essentially 3 to 4 weeks, somewhere between 3 and 4 weeks rental. So certainly not the most affordable option or the most expensive. I didn't look into many of the others. We really wanted an electric car. This is also where we thank Korea Tourism Organization for partnering with us on these videos. But that's what this one costs, and it comes with a certain level of insurance, but then we have additional insurance via our credit card. Related to this question, somebody asked about driver's license, which is a great question. I'll let Pete speak to this one.
Yeah, so in Korea, they specifically require you to have an international driving permit. So back in the US, I went to a AAA store in our hometown and was able to get one. It was really, really easy, and it cost me around $25. I'm not sure if that's correct, but I think it was very inexpensive. And you have to have a couple of passport photos, and they basically just give you this international driving permit, which is translated into a ton of different languages, one being Korean. So you need that plus your own driving license from your country as well. So I have one from the US, I also have one from the UK, so I use my US one, but really, really important. And then the most important thing to note about those international driving permits, which is kind of also really frustrating, is that they only last for a year. So mine is going to expire at some point this summer. I'm going to have to go and get another one back in the US, which is annoying. And do not make the mistake that I did once, which was trying to buy one online. There's a couple of companies online that advertise that you can do a digital one. They're bogus, they're fake, and especially here in Korea, they will not accept it. They have to have the paper copy one.
While Pete's paying the toll, somebody asked how we keep Hayes occupied, and I'll be totally frank, he watches a lot of TV on his tablet when we have long journeys.
Mama, what is your name?
We also have a subscription to Epic for children's books, and it's really great because there are some that read to you, but tablet time, 100%.
And we're just going in our car to a different city maybe. And we haven't seen any beaches, but we haven't gone into, but we're spotting on the way. And like the houses, like the things going down, they kind of like temples. Like, this is really cool. We're going to a different city. Wonder what our room is gonna look like. And it's so exciting what it's gonna look like because we've never been to this city. And those are mountains up there, like something more. And animals live here like monkeys. Mommy's favorite monkeys. Zebras or like something.
Zebras!
Hi, I'm still doing it.
I was going to tell you that when Hayes is not watching his tablet, he's telling lots of stories and talking absolutely nonstop.
I'm still doing it.
To be honest, I don't really know how the whole toll system works because I'm not sure I'm doing it correctly. But when I picked up the car, there was a sign at the rental place that said you could buy a high pass, which is the card that you can use, and then you can use the high pass lanes on the toll, and you can load it up with money and then away you go. But you need a device to put the actual high pass into, and they didn't have any of those at the rental place, so they just told me, don't worry, just pay at the toll booths. So that's what I've been doing. Some toll booths that you turn up to, obviously when you get onto the freeway, you go through a toll booth. Some give you a ticket, others don't. So when you get to the other end of, when you're leaving the highway going through a toll booth, you have to say where you came from, and then they figure out the cost and then they charge you. But sometimes I don't know if that's correct. I don't know if I'm doing it the right way.
What I'll do is, when I was looking for more toll information that we didn't know, I did find that there is a page on Visit Korea about tolls and driving in general that's very concise and helpful, so I will put that in the description.
I should have read that, shouldn't I?
By far the most asked question, like by far, was what are the rest stops like and what are the best road trip snacks? So we're gonna try to answer those two right here at the service station. Related to that, our friend Tara also asked about bathrooms. I haven't been in this one yet, but I can already see that it is well equipped, which is super common here. The very first rest stop we went to, which was on our way from Seoul to Legoland, the bathroom felt like a 5-star hotel, not a rest stop bathroom. This one looks pretty nice too, let's go see. Immediately very impressed. There's a board behind me that tells you like what type of toilet, is it squatting or is it seated? Is it available? Where you are in relation to the toilets, where you can wash your hands, where you can find dryers, where there's family stations, if there's something being fixed. This is actually wild. I haven't seen one this detailed yet. I'm gonna go on this one. It's clean and there's toilet paper, which is more than you can say for a lot of rest stops in the States. Were the men's bathrooms as nice as the women's?
So good. Hayes and I went into one, and it was a robot-themed kids' toilet. He loved it. I taught Hayes recently the term stretching your legs when you go to a rest stop. I feel like that's such a British thing you do when you're going on a long journey. Oh, gotta stop, stretch my legs.
Okay, I mean, you've probably seen this, but this is so common in Korea, and it's nice when there's a language barrier. We're gonna highlight two types of rest stop food. The super nutritious and actually really good from the ones we've been to. like meals, and then we'll get our second course on the way out. For our first course, Pete is in luck because they have a mackerel set. We'll do one of those, and then I fancy, so one mackerel, one doenjang jjigae soybean paste stew. This all cost 22,000 won. So like 16 US dollars for an entire set meal. Mine comes with the stew, some seaweed, some rice, some kimchi. Pete has mackerel and a soup and rice. It's much more hearty, nutritious food than I think either of us are used to from rest stops in our own countries. So the other kind of food that we wanted to highlight at rest stops is what I would consider the more sort of traditional as far as like American rest stops go. It's your hot dogs, your corn dogs, your chicken fingers, your fried stuff like that. We've opted for the classic hot dog, but the other thing I really like, I think it's called soktok, where it's like the little sausage and the rice cake, rice cake. They also have fish cakes, which are really popular. Yeah, it's more your like grab and go situation.
But something that's different is that you can add sugar, right?
Mustard?
And ketchup.
Oh, divorce time.
How do you do this?
Also, brilliant.
So
Brilliant. Wait.
wow, sugar, mustard, and ketchup really works. Look at the hot dog's tiny.
Oh wow. It's like double wrapped? I haven't seen that before. Usually these rest stops also have all the like name brand convenience stores, CU, GS25, whatever. The one in here wasn't great, so we're gonna save snacks for a little bit later. Lots of questions obviously about driving an electric car, like are there enough chargers? How much does it cost to charge, stuff like that. We have not found it difficult to find charging stations, have we?
No, really easy. And pro tip, there is actually on Naver, you can search and find chargers wherever you are.
But
So
most of
there's
our
tons
hotels have
everywhere.
had them. In Seoul, we didn't spend a lot of time driving in Seoul, and that was definitely the most stressful of the places Pete has driven. Mostly for parking though. Parking has also not been an issue outside of Seoul, but in Seoul we found it a little bit challenging just not knowing. But anyway, it costs, oh that says 347.2. But then it says, it seems to cost anywhere. Let's make a video about driving in Korea. I'm not actually capable of answering any questions. I think it costs between 350 and 450 won per kilowatt, which does not mean much to me, but you can basically get a full charge for like 20,000 won, 15 bucks, but we've never needed a full charge.
And the car company gave me this card, which for the first couple of times when I was trying to charge the car, I was trying to use my credit card. A couple of times it worked, a couple of times you need to download an app and all that kind of stuff, and then I remembered I had this card and I used that too, and it's just makes it all very easy. I'm sure when we return the car, I'm then gonna get like a bill of everything that we've used on this card. So
we've been learning on the fly, and we're making this video like halfway through it, so we're still learning. So just know that once you get here, you can figure, hopefully this video is helpful, but then once you get here, it's very quick and easy to figure things out as you go.
And one last thing I'll add, this car, because it's quite a big car, has a range of like 600 kilometers, which is really incredible. And it makes range anxiety, which I know is a thing for people about driving electric cars, like not a thing. Like I don't have to worry about charging this car up that often. And
Korea's not big. This is our longest journey today, and we're going to be driving a total of 4 hours. So
it's good, it's easy. And also at museums as well, there's a ton of charging points. So whenever you're driving around doing activities, if you want to stop, you can do charging, and very, very easy.
And now we want to buy an electric. Well, we don't want to buy a car, but if we were to own a car again, 100% we would get an electric car.
100%.
Back on the road, and our friend Charlie asked what's the biggest difference between urban and rural Korea. don't have a great answer for this, but one thing that I have found really interesting that I didn't realize is we've been to now a few smaller mid-sized cities, driven by small cities, and there are so many high-rises, like really tall high-rises, even when there's like lots of nature and plenty of room. And so I Googled it and I found this Washington Post article that I'll link if anybody's interested, about how Koreans have been living in high-rises ever since the war. That's just like the style of living, and I won't explain it well. I'll link it below, but it's not what I expected. I thought when we left the cities that we would see maybe like neighborhoods and single-family homes, but we haven't seen a lot of that. And the other thing I'll say is places feel more familiar to America when I'm in a car. I think because America is such a car-dependent place that, I don't know, it's neither here nor there.
And I would add driving is more similar to America. Roads are nice and wide, and that's about the only comparison I have. They drive a lot nicer here than they do in America.
Okay, you're not going to hear from us for a little bit because it is 1 o'clock in South Korea on April 19th, which means it's midnight in the United States, which means that Taylor Swift's new album, The Tortured Poets Department, is coming out. And I'm so excited because a long time ago, my former colleague, Nick Hamilton, told me whenever he goes on a trip, he picks an album he hasn't listened to or an album he loves or something, but to connect the memory of that trip with music, because it's such a strong kind of linkage. I talked about this if you watched our train journey across Turkey, and I don't know, I guess the music gods are just smiling down on us because it's our longest journey of the trip and we get a new Taylor Swift album.
Or are they? I mean, they might be smiling down on for you.
We're at Shasha.
Yosu.
Shasha.
Yosu.
Shasha.
Several people told us to go to Yosu, which was on our original itinerary, but then we had to shift some things, so we will not be staying in Yosu, but we decided to stop and have a coffee in Yosu. And this one came up as a neighbor. It had like 4.94 or something. It looked like it had a view, which it does, so I don't know why I'm making you look at us. And we let Hazy pick the cake.
How was it? Is it good?
Tell the circle.
This cake is really good, but Daddy thinks it's bad.
Why?
Daddy wanted chocolate, but he got outvoted. I thought the rainbow looked more fun. This might be a style over substance cake/cafe. It's hard to tell sometimes. There's so many beautiful, stylish cafes that when they're stylish and delicious,
Mommy?
you're like,
Yeah. That's not bad.
it's not bad.
The easy way is like to flip it down.
Should we do another question?
Let's do it.
Okay, somebody on YouTube, unrelated to driving, said, how do you handle the food issue for the baby? I don't know what issue he means, but Hayes, do you like the food in Korea?
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
there's always something for Hayes to eat. Hayes is a little bit picky sometimes, but there's always rice, there's meat, he loves fish. Yeah, I don't know.
Mackerel. I love mackerel. I really love mackerel.
We really love mackerel. There's always something. So I don't find that too bad.
It's my first time driving an electric car and I'm really enjoying it. This Hyundai Ioniq 6 is super easy to drive, and one of the best things is the cruise control. It's so advanced, and basically this car could drive itself. A couple of things that it does really well is it keeps a really good safe distance from cars in front of you, holds the speed really well, but my favorite function is if you're looking to overtake or change lanes, it does it for you. So you just hit the lever, the indicator, and then it will just move the car over. I mean, you have to keep your hands on the wheel, but that's good. Really, it's really cool. But I am not a huge car person, but I'm a convert now to an electric car. I think they're great.
Taylor Swift update. We got a double album, but we also got a song called Peter. I'm so jealous.
I thought she didn't.
And we have Lavender Haze. So I'm the only family member without a Taylor Swift song named after me.
Well, you're still a Haze.
Oh right.
1, 2, 3. Woo!
We're approaching Mokpo, which means I guess it's the end of this video. I hope we have answered some of your questions. We've probably raised more, as we tend to do. But don't be scared to drive in Korea if that's something that sounds interesting to you, because we have found it really a great, wonderful way to explore this country. With a lot of flexibility, and particularly wonderful with a kid.
Hit us up in the DMs if you have any specific driving questions.
Or the comments. Leave us a comment. We love comments. And the series is continuing after this. The next video will be Mokpo, then we're going to Jeonju, then we'll be back in Seoul. So we appreciate you following along. And just another big thank you to the Korea Tourism Organization for partnering with us on this whole Korea road trip series. Appreciate y'all.